climbing Mount Everest by Mr. Ravindra Kumar, who will be in conversation with Mr. Vijay Yadav. I now request the speaker and the discussant to please step on the stage. Can I please request the audience to settle down? We have our speaker and discussant on stage. Everyone, please. We'll have to go there, no? A big hand for our speaker and discussant, please, everyone. Mr. Ravindra Kumar, he is an ex-seafarer, IAS officer, mountaineer, and an author. Everyone, could you please maintain the decorum of the hall? We are about to begin our next session. Please settle down. Humble request, everyone. So Mr. Ravindra Kumar, he is an ex-seafarer, IAS officer, mountaineer, and author. He is the first IAS officer as well as the first seafarer of India to climb Mount Everest. He has also written a book, Many Everests, which has tremendous capacity to change people's life by teaching them a positive way about life and giving them a miraculous tool to success called Advanced Positive Visualization. He was awarded with Sikkim Khel Ratna Award by the government of Sikkim and Vishesh Khel Samman by the government of Bihar and has many more such accolades to his name. Talking about our discussant, Mr. Vijay Yadav, he is a retired Director General of Police. He is amongst the most decorated police officers in the country, having been awarded for exhibiting conspicuous gallantry and exemplary devotion towards duty. The Gallantry Medal thrice by the President of India. A keen sportsman and a lover of adventure sport, he is also among the selected few to be trained in counter-terrorism operations by the elite Green Berets of the United States Army. A photographer and a wildlife enthusiast, he has traveled extensively all over the world and is presently engaged in writing his experiences in a book titled A Collection of Tales. Now I hand over the discussion to move forward to our dear discussants and speaker. Thank you so much, sir. But I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can I please have the attention of the people who are at the back? Can I please ask you to settle down? We're about to begin the discussion, please.
Thank you. May we have your attention, please?
Sir.
Right there at the end, please.
Vartul, sir.
Right there at the end. Thank you.
Please settle down.
Excuse me. Could you please settle down?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the penultimate session of the program, and sometimes we are in a hurry to reach the end. So, best to start straight away. Ravindra Kumar is the District Magistrate of Jhansi, an IAS officer of the 2011 batch. He has the rare distinction of having climbed Mount Everest not once, as the book tells us, but twice. First in 2013 and then again in 2019. He is probably the only civil servant in the country to do so. Today, we discuss his book, Many Everests. Climbing the tallest mountain in the world has always been a challenge to mankind and a dangerous challenge. More than 300 people have died in their attempts to scale the summit. The mountain has been source of much literature. A few classics would immediately come to mind. The Conquest of Everest by John Hunt is an account of the first successful ascent of the summit in 1953 by Tenzing Norgay and Ed Hillary. Into Thin Air by John Crocker is a first-hand telling of the 1996 climbing disaster, where on May 10, 11, 8 mountaineers lost their lives. Our own hero, Colonel S.P.S. Ahluwalia's Higher Than Everest, is a wonderful memoir coming from a war hero who climbed the Mount Everest, took a Pakistani sniper's bullet in his spine, and spent the remaining 60 years of his life on a wheelchair. The book, Many Everests, is in 2 parts. The second part is largely an autobiographical account of the author's life from childhood to the ascent of the mountain. But it is the first part which makes this book different from any other. It talks about how to convert dreams into reality. No better person to tell us than what it means than the author. Ravindra, please lead us through the book.
Thank you very much to Yadav sir. Ladies and gentlemen in this hall, good evening to all of you. Sir has already introduced about me as well as the book, so I'll go straightway to the point. This is my book. If you go through the index, you will find that first part is the theory of motivation, that's called advanced positive visualization. And second part, as sir already said, this describes my journey from childhood to the first summit of Everest. Now sir has already mentioned few of the very famous book in mountaineering. There are many books on motivation also. Now what is difference between those very famous book on motivation, other books on mountaineering, and this one? I'm sure you must have read many books on motivation. If you see this book, you will observe that mostly books on motivation, they describes the theory of motivation plainly, that this happens, that happens, if you do this, miracle will come in your life. But rarest of rare, I have found any book which proves it scientifically, biologically, medically, that actually how it happens. This book, I have taken support of Einstein theory of relativity, research outcome of Harvard Medical School, research outcome of Russian military lab, and it is very convincing. You can understand, if you are from science background, you can very well understand how this positive visualization works. Now second part is that most of the books on motivation, they gives example of smaller example of some eminent personality, sometimes in some corner of USA or Europe, you don't know them, or some imaginary person. Now, if you don't know the person, you are not convinced that actually that has happened or no. In this book, sir has already said that all the examples are based on real life events of author, that's me, but all those real life events you can connect with you, because that is real life event of ordinary person. So this was on motivational part. Let us come to mountaineering. I feel some of you may be interested in mountaineering and you may have gone through some of the books. Mostly what happens, there are 2 types of books on mountaineering. One is they describe mountain expedition, the journey, but they lacks on other part like historical, cultural, terrains, details about all the places you are going through. If you find books about information on track routes or mountaineering, then you lack the story part. When you are lacking, they are separate, you can't connect that. When you actually go for mountaineering, what will happen? So this book is, you can say, this is feedback from my friends and other part, that this is complete book on mountaineering on Everest from Nepal side, where as the expedition grows, you can actually visualize the place, you can feel the historical, cultural fragrance of the place. dangerous terrain, sometimes wildlife also. The beauty of book is that, as sir said, the first part describes theory of motivation, and second parts, as you grow, as you go through the journey, it tells you that how in the difficult time, in the testing time, this theory of visualization actually works in the field. And you can connect. Actually, when you go through this book, you can connect with your own life. You can visualize that if same thing happens in your life, if you do this, something positive will happen. If you go towards negativity, obviously you are inviting failures. That's the beauty of book. Thank you, sir.
Like you said, the motivation part. You have used a term in your introduction and in the first part of the book, advanced positive visualization. Could you tell us what exactly it is?
Advanced positive visualization, see, I don't want to go into so much of technical details, but in one line we can say that visualization is whenever you think about something, you imagine about something, maybe your past, present or future. Present means some other place. Some kinds of picture or animation comes on the screen of your mind, right? This is basically visualization. Now let us take example from real life. I guess that some of you may be visitor of this place for the first time. Suppose some of you are visitor of this place for the first time and you have planned few days earlier that, okay, I'll go to attend one session of Bhopal Literature Festival. What comes in your mind? Okay, there will be a standee outside at the entrance. When you are entering hall, there will be some people sitting like this. There will be 2 persons on the stage. So some picture comes on your screen of your mind. Now you have actually come, you have seen this. When you recall, then also you will recall this picture. So what is difference? The first imagination was virtual. You imagine that this kind of scenario will be there. And afterward is the real picture. Now what is its connectivity with the theory of motivation? The science has proved that your mind, your subconscious mind, does not differentiate between virtual and real. I mean, what you imagine before coming to this literature event and what you will recall later, they don't make any difference. And how science has proved? I'll quote an article from Harvard Medical School. They came up with an article in 2013. What they did, they chose 2 groups of volunteers. They let them sit in different classrooms, and they were giving them 2-hour session on how to play piano. Now, what is interesting fact is that one group was actually given piano to be played, and they were playing, practicing it by 5 fingers movement. And another group was told that you don't need to actually play piano, you have to just imagine in your mind that you are playing piano with the 5 fingers movement. And the neuroscientists, they were observing the change in the brain of both groups. So at the end of 5 days session of 2 hours each, they found that there were equal change in the motor cortex region of brain of both groups. Now motor cortex region is medically some term in the brain, so we should not go into detail. Now what conclusion they came to know? That actually one group is imagining and another group is actually playing, but there is equal change, equal expansion in that particular region of brain. Why? Because your subconscious mind does not differentiate between real and imaginary. Now let us come back to this session. After going from here, maybe some of you, because you have seen so many eminent authors interacting, maybe you can plan that, okay, let us start writing. Some of you will start writing, will go home, read some books, start writing, and you will be confident that, okay, there are many eminent authors. My book will be chosen by good publisher, will be very famous. So this is positive part. As you think about this, you will imagine some kind of scenario on the screen of your mind, right? The second case can be, okay, you started reading some book, you started writing, but after a few days you gave up that this is not cup of my tea. This is not my cup of tea. And you start imagining, okay, I'll work for 6 months and then none of the good publisher will pick up my book, and then even if I get it published, it won't be famous in public. So in this case also you are imagining some scenario on the screen of mind. Now if you go by piano experiment, both are virtual. And how subconscious mind will take it. They will take both in negative and positive scenario as real, and it starts converting it in your real life. Now what this book says, how to avoid the second scenario, the negative scenario. Now how to avoid? You can say that, okay, I don't want negative thing in my life, but this does not actually happen. Because our mind is like fertile soil. You have seen a farmer sowing crops, seed of crop in the field, but at the same time weeds also grows, because fertile soil does not differentiate between what is weed and what is crop. Same is our mind. Whatever you think, whatever comes on the screen of your mind, it take them equally, without any difference. If you are thinking about negativity will come in your life in future. If you are thinking about positivity come in the life of. Now you say that this is theory, how can I believe? Let us take example of one baby elephant. You might have seen in circus that baby elephants are constrained by thick iron chain, isn't it? Some of you might have visited circus. Now the baby elephant try hard to break free, but finally give up because they can't break. After the baby elephant grows into giant elephant, adult elephant, they are not constrained by iron chain. They are constrained by simple jute rope. And giant elephant don't try, because the experience of the childhood, that whatever is tying my leg, I am not able to break it, I cannot break it. So you see that whatever imagination comes on the screen of your mind, how it is affecting your life. So this is positive visualization. Now this is in short, this book describes actually the practical method also, and many other theories, many other things, so that I have tried to convince people, because nowadays in democracy everybody wants a reason, explanation, how it is possible. So I have tried to convince them that, okay, if you believe in this this will go for your advantage, and I'm sure if you really believe in positive visualization, you can achieve your dream. Thank you.
This book is about, as you said, climbing Mount Everest. Then why do you call it many Everests? What are the other Everests to climb?
Yes, a very interesting question. As I said initially, that there are major two parts in this book. One is motivation, second is mountaineering. But I said that the second part of the book covers journey from childhood to the first summit of Everest. Now let us take practical example. All of you go through schooling stage, no? You read, you study in some Hindi medium or English medium school. You are studying in Hindi medium school, it may be that you desire to study in English medium school. You study in normal convent of English medium, maybe you can desire that I should have got admission in DPS, Bhopal, DPS, Bokaro, DPS, Delhi. So you always dream to go ahead in life. And your dream may be fulfilled, may not be fulfilled. Suppose you are from normal financial background and you want to study in some DPS, Ranchi or Delhi, and your parents cannot support it. So this is financial constraint. Maybe your parent is able to support you, but you could not clear the entrance exam. So these are constraints. Now this book talks about that you don't need to be disheartened just because of constraint like financial background of your family or your academic performance or other constraint. If you follow positive visualization, you can propel smoothly through your life, and at the later stage of life, you can fulfill your dream. Now let us go little ahead. Okay, your student life is over. You have grown adult, you need to look for a job. For a job, maybe government job, maybe your private enterprise. There is competition everywhere. You want to become doctor, engineer, IAS officer, judge, or political leader. In India, having population of around 140 crore, for every seat in any job, you are competing with more than 1,000 competitors, right? Now, depending on your academic performance in the past or kind of educational institution you have gone, there is always some set pattern in your mind that whether you can clear this exam or no, isn't it? This book talks about how to clear exam giving example of civil services exam with your limited resources in terms of what kind of coaching institution you can take depending on financial strength of your family, what kind of educational background you have. So this talks about that in spite of all constraint, your academic background, kind of educational institution, your financial background, you can fulfill your dream, you can clear any competitive exam, and believe it, you can really clear any competitive exam. That's how this book describes. Now let us come to one more thing, like last year, you have seen Olympic Games. First time India won 7 medals in Olympic game. Now when you are watching TV, maybe you have never played any sport, you are physically weak since your childhood, but always desired, अरे यार, मैं भी उसके जैसा gold medal जीतता. But the second moment, thought comes to your mind that, अरे, this is not possible because I have never played sports in my life. I have been physically weak since my childhood. So this book talks about a boy who was very lean and thin, often used to fall sick in childhood, and after that, suddenly, later he got a job, and after getting well-paid job, he has grown fatty, he is very heavy, and suddenly he planned that, okay, I have to climb the highest peak of world without attempting any peak in the way. And he does it. This is possible with positive visualization, and this is what this book talks about. So just because it covers other aspect also, like your childhood school, your educational background, the kind of competition you are going through, and many other aspects, these are all obstacles in your life. So that is why each obstacle symbolizes one Everest in life, and that is why we have titled it Many Everests.
Thank you. The book is there for the readers to go through, but I'll ask you a personal question. You see, India's power elites are not particularly characterized by physical activity, sport, or adventure. They tend to be more sedate and, if you will allow me, vainglorious. But here we have a member of that elite, an IAS officer, jumping off the beaten track and embarking on a journey which requires tremendous physical and mental strength. More than 300 climbers have died in their attempt at Mount Everest. Also, I think, knowing fully well, I can say from my experience, that this achievement shall have very little to do with your progression at your job. In fact, it could be a burden for you to carry. With this background, having climbed Mount Everest not once, but twice, is nothing short of a stupendous feat. Congratulations. But tell us what made you do it?
First of all, thank you very much, sir, for kind appreciation. It is true that climbing Mount Everest is physically as well as mentally very tough. Physically tough, why? Because of 3 factors. The oxygen level here is what you are getting oxygen. At the peak of Everest, exactly you are getting 1/3 of what you are getting here. So it is said that if somebody is living at sea level and you are picked up and put on the top of Everest, within 1 minute you are going unconscious, and within 2 minutes you die, because your body is not supporting you with 1/3 of oxygen. Now second is temperature. Now temperature will be around 40 degree. On the peak of Everest, the average temperature is -25 to -55. Now let us talk about wind. The peak of Everest is always under influence of jet stream, having wind speed of more than 100 knots. There are only 2 seasons in the year, that is pre-monsoon and post-monsoon, when monsoon pushes away the jet stream, and that's why the speed of wind on the top decreases, maybe 15-20 knots, and these are times when we attempt Everest, especially like before monsoon in the month of May and after monsoon in the month of September. Now mentally also you need toughness, because above 8,000, there is no rescue measures. No helicopter, no aeroplane, none of the person can rescue you if you cannot stand on your own leg. Either you can save yourself or God can save. Above this, almost every year there are incidents of death while climbing Everest. Almost every year. In 13 I climbed, 9 people died. 15 we went to attempt, 22 people died in within few minutes because of Nepal earthquake and resultant avalanche at the base camp. 19 also 4 Indians died. And above this, while you are climbing or descending, you are encountering dead body, not fresh dead body of the person who has died 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The oldest dead body discovered is 75 years ago of George Mallory. He died in 1924 and his dead body was discovered in 1999. So if you are really planning to climb Everest in spite of all this hindrance, you need mental toughness. Now, sir, your question was, okay, I'm settled in good job. Why to take such risk? See, my belief is that there is risk everywhere. You have seen last year how CDS General Bipin Rawat died in helicopter incident. You see so many rail incident, but still you fly by aeroplane, you travel by train. As far as job of an Indian administrative officer is concerned, you have witnessed COVID. During COVID, at that time I was posted in another district. We have seen that during COVID, even the family member of a infected patient, they are afraid, they are scared to go near their relative. And at that time, to motivate your team, to motivate doctor, to motivate your team, you need to take lead. So at that time, I was posted in Bulandshahr, and I visited almost all COVID hospital, inspected COVID ward of 4 to 5 COVID hospital, and interacted with more than 100 COVID infected patient undergoing treatment, not from far, but with only this much of distance, and I was not infected by the grace of God, you can say. So I believe that risk is everywhere. Even if you are in a well-paid or lucrative job, there is risk. The fear lies in your mind. If you have to die, you can die anyway. I mean, this building can fall. You can meet some accident while traveling on the road. So fear lies in the mind, and I believe that if you really plan in a good way, if you prepare, if you work hard, and if you are strong by your mind, Everest is not very tough. COVID was more tougher. Everest is not very tough, sir. Thank you.
Would you like to show a short film? You wanted to show that? We have time.
Yes, sir. Can you play that movie, Sikhar Se Pukar? Actually, I have, sir, as you said, sir, I have climbed 2 times, but I have given 3rd attempt also, 2015. This book is about 2013 Everest, but this movie covers 2019 Everest, that is basically on water conservation. At that time, I was posted in Government of India in Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. This ministry deals with rural water supply in the rural area of India. And at that time, water scarcity was matter of discussion. So I thought, let us try to go to Everest with the message of water conservation. And rest, I think this movie will describe everything. So can you play this? Okay. आने वाले कल में जल समस्या भारत के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती बन सकती है। इस बात का एहसास मुझे तब हुआ जब मैं पेयजल एवं स्वच्छता मंत्रालय भारत सरकार में तैनात था, और उसी दौरान मैंने निश्चय किया कि जल संरक्षण के प्रभावी आह्वान के लिए अगर एक बार फिर से एवरेस्ट
Can I have one last question?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
Ravindra is not only the author of many Everests, but 5 other books. Could you very, very briefly tell us about them?
Okay, this is the first one you have already seen. This is basically Hindi version of first one. It was published on demand of friends from Hindi state like Rajasthan, MP, UP, Bihar. This one is basically, these two are basically descriptive. It gives you story-like description. This one is actual pictorial description. And it gives you description of Sikkim, Ladakh, Nepal, as well as China, China side of Everest. Pictures are there, very good pictures, historical heritage, cultural monuments, some wildlife, some way of life, with short description. This is good book. You can actually feel like you are traveling all those places because it has been designed in such a way that you feel like the expedition is progressing. Now these 3 books are on mountaineering. 4 more, these are basically poem collection. Now this is literature festival, so I thought I should introduce you to this book also, 21वीं सीढ़ी. This is Antariksh and Swapn Yatra. This is published by Bloomsbury. This is Nayi Aankhein. And the last one, this is Lalak. Now Lalak, I'll quote few lines. Actually, this poem was written in 1997 when I was in class 10th. And few lines are quoted at the back cover. I'll read this. नहीं मिलते मुझे खिलौने, ललक नहीं है मुझको इसकी, पर एक ललक जरूर है मन में, हंस हंस कर ही बचपन बिताऊं. मोटर गाड़ियों से करने की मसूरी की सैर, ललक मुझ में है इसकी, पढ़ चढ़कर हिमगिरी की चोटी पर ललक है हिंद का तिरंगा फहराऊं. This was actually written in 1997. So now you can understand why I quoted these lines. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravindra. It was a lovely session. Thank you all.
Thank you very
Hello.
much, sir. Thank you very much, everyone,
we,
for patiently listening.
Yes, sir. Do we have any question for sir? Yes, please. Because Mike.
Everest from both the sides. I believe the north side as well as the south side. How different is the experience from the north side? Because very little has been written about it. That is one. If I can mention a second question to you, don't you think it is time to stop the commercialization of Everest? China has put a age limit. You have fly-by-night operators charging from $35,000 to $80,000, putting everyone at risk. The facts are rather well known. Could you throw light on these 2 aspects, please? Thanks.
All right, sir. This is true that I have climbed from both sides in 2013 from Nepal side, 2019 from China side. Now, what is difference between two? My observation was Nepal side route is shorter, distance is lesser. And above base camp, you are always dealing with ice. Wind is lesser. China side is comparatively considered tougher because first route is very long. So you get exhausted, you get tired. It is exposed to wind from north side. And you are dealing with rocky terrain. Now, climbing with boot, heavy boot with crampon on rocky surface is very dangerous. You can slip and lose your life. So these are basic. One more difference is that it is very easy to get, permission from Nepal government. As you have already said that China government has put a lot of restrictions. They ask for your experience. They ask for many other things. So it is also difficult to get permission from China side. Now, second part of question, commercialization. Yes, I do believe. No, it is true that yes, commercialization has happened. Now, if you see 1996 accident, sir quoted into thin air, till that time there was no so much of commercialization. But after that, Commercialization happened because of weather accuracy, prediction in weather accuracy, accurate prediction of weather. And because of that, before 1996, the death was 1 out of 4. I mean 25%, 1 out of 4. After 1996, average death is 4%, just opposite. Because of that, now you don't have so much of risk. If you feel that, okay, I'll go to climb Everest and chances of dying is 1/4, you are not going. You think 10 times. But if you feel that, okay, chances of dying is 1/25th, you are more motivated to go. So one part is commercialization because of scientific development, more accurate prediction of weather and all other logistic. Second part is because risk is lesser than period before 1996, so more people are climbing. Yes, it happens because, as I said, Everest is attempted only when wind speed at the top is lesser. Everest is under influence of jet stream round the year, and only before monsoon in the month of May, and within May you get weather window of 48 to 72 hours, that also once or twice or maximum thrice. So you are getting only very short window of 48 to 72 hours once pre-monsoon, or twice or maximum thrice. Post-monsoon also you get such kind of window, but because of heavy snowfall it is very difficult to climb, so most of the people attempt pre-monsoon. Now you have limited window. Government has given permission to more than 300 people. When will they climb? So if you are climbing, many people, most of the people, and plus this is very expensive, so they don't want to lose chance. So all the people, they try to attempt in the first weather window only. And there is only one narrow route. So one narrow route, limited weather window, and that is the reason of traffic jam. It's not like Sabji Mandi, because Sabji Mandi is visited by thousands of people, lakhs of people. Everest is not visited by lakhs of people. Since 1953 till today, around roughly 6,000 people has climbed Everest from all over the world. Sir?
Excuse me.
Yes. 10,000 times, because Sherpa climb is multiple times. Even I have climbed 2 times. So when, yeah.
सर आपकी लाइफ जितनी इंस्पायरिंग है, आपकी किताबें भी उतनी इंस्पायरिंग है, और बस ये जानना चाहता हूँ आपसे कि वो रविंद्र कुमार जो एवरेस्ट पहले नहीं चढ़ा था, और वो रविंद्र कुमार जो एवरेस्ट 2 बार चढ़ा, 1 बार नहीं 2 बार चढ़ा, तो उसमें कितना कुछ बदला और कितना बदला हुआ रविंद्र कुमार है अब? सॉरी।
थैंक यू वेरी मच. देखिए, एक ऑब्जर्वेशन जो स्लोप ऑफ एवरेस्ट पे मुझे फील हुआ, वो ये हुआ कि इन स्पाइट ऑफ ऑल साइंटिफिक डेवलपमेंट, जो ह्यूमन बीइंग है वो नेचर के सामने कुछ भी नहीं है. वो मूवी में भी कहा गया है. आप जितना वेल्दी हैं उतना आपका आराम का लाइफ है, उतना ही ज़्यादा आप वल्नरेबल हैं माउंटेन में. दूसरा है कि इन स्पाइट ऑफ ऑल कंफर्ट, इन स्पाइट ऑफ ऑल वेल्थ, इन स्पाइट ऑफ ऑल नॉलेज, आप माउंटेन में सब बराबर है. शेरपा भी बराबर है, आप बराबर हैं. तो लोगों को वहाँ जाके ये फील होता है कि ये सारा जो मेटेरियलिस्टिक लाइफ है सब बेकार है. आप नेचर से प्रेम करो, फाइनली नेचर ही पावरफुल है. आप बिलियनियर रहें, स्लोप ऑफ एवरेस्ट में कोई रेस्क्यू नहीं है. अबव 8,000 मीटर तो रेस्क्यू है ही नहीं. मैक्सिमम शेरपा आपको मदद करेगा, वो भी तभी जब उनके पास सफिशिएंट ऑक्सीजन हो, और विथ लिमिटेड ऑक्सीजन जो कि मैक्सिमम 24 आवर्स चलेगा. विद इन दैट टाइम अगर आप रिटर्न होने के लायक नहीं हो तो शेरपा भी आपको छोड़ देगा. तो कोई मेटेरियलिस्टिक कंफर्ट नहीं, कुछ वेल्थ कुछ नहीं, नॉलेज कुछ नहीं. आप प्रकृति से प्रेम करें, नेचर इज ऑल माइटी. वो फील मुझे हुआ. एक और फील हुआ 2013 में जब मैं पीक पे था, तो मैं नीचे देखा, मैंने देखा कि सब तरफ केवल बादल हैं, वाइट क्लाउड, एंड पीक ऑफ माउंटेन जेटिंग आउट ऑफ क्लाउड. तो मुझे क्यूरियोसिटी हुई कि यहाँ से इंडिया कहाँ है. तो मैंने देखा कि यहाँ तो केवल बादल और पर्वत हैं. तो मेरे मन में एक ख्याल आया कि नेचर कोई डिफ्रेंशिएट नहीं करती है कि कहाँ पे चाइना है, कहाँ इंडिया है और कहाँ नेपाल है. अगर ह्यूमन बीइंग भी इसी तरीके से बाउंड्री लेस वर्ल्ड की बात करें तो कितना पीसफुल रहेगा. तो 2 ऑब्जर्वेशन. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, sir. Your journey is truly awe-inspiring, and I'm sure every single person who is sitting in the audience was thrilled watching to that movie of yours and listening to you and your experiences. It was absolutely fantastical, and we're all privileged to have you here, really. So to end this session, I would now request Meenakshi Dua ma'am to please give away the mementos to our speaker and to our discussant.
Thank you very much, madam.
Please, everyone, please, let's have a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.